What's up, everybody? John Clash here with a few of my very good, amazing friends that I've known for a really long time and actually just met today. We're here for a panel that the Bible Dingers actually came up with. And
did we?
Yeah, I think it was.
Oh.
I think it was you. It was one of you.
It was me, but that's okay.
I believe it was Angel.
I'm humble. So it was the Bible Dingers.
He's in the Bible Dingers now.
Appreciate your
me the whole time, I promise.
appreciate your false humility over there.
Dude, I'm so humble. It's crazy.
So humble. So you should see my room.
Yeah. It's clean, like Jordan Peterson says.
No pictures of me at all. None. But anyway, so we decided to put this panel together and call it the One True Church. Actually, that was Angel's idea to call it the One True Church, and we just ran with it. And the reason that we're calling it that is because this is something that a lot of people claim. They claim that their denomination or what they believe is the only thing that matters in all of Christendom. And so we just want to kind of kick that in the face a little bit. And the One True Church, we're going to get into exactly what that means as we go through this, is being united on the essentials. You know, there are many secondary issues that, run rampant in the church, and they are discussions that we should be having in finding these deep theological truths. But it's not, but it's not something that we should be arguing over and, not fellowshipping with each other about. And we'll get into some things that many people claim are secondary that are actually borderlining some heretical false teachings. But for the most part, we're going to be showing that you can have unity in your differences. So with that being said, we're going to just introduce everybody. Well, they're going to introduce themselves.
My name is Jeremy Collins, and I'm a pastor in the EPC, Evangelical Presbyterian Church, and I have a YouTube channel that teaches how to learn the Bible, but really from a goal and standpoint of being salt and light in the world. So taking a look at all kinds of things like that.
My name is Angel Quiroz. I am a Christian who does YouTube stuff. And I pretty much just focus on like a little bit of an overlap of culture, politics, and Christianity, and kind of what the conversations are around that. So that's kind of where I place most of my emphasis for my content.
My name is Xavier. I have a channel on YouTube. It's called 716. It's essentially, it's about Matthew 7:16, and what we like to do there is we like to share good fruits and occasionally expose the bad ones. Together with my wife, Adrian, we just try to do everything that, God has for us and go forward with it.
I'm LT. I run a YouTube channel as well, the most important job out there. And I run a comparative religion channel where I look at a bunch of different religions and see how they line up with each other.
My name is Nick, and I'll let Ryan tell you about our YouTube channel, but I'll tell you about our podcast. We run a podcast that goes through the historical context of each book of the Bible. We go through each book one by one, and then we stop along the way and we talk about important topics like Calvinism, Arminianism, and all those important things along the way as you read through Scripture, like Romans and Ephesians and all those books that are debatable with secondary doctrines. We stop there and make sure that we give people, professionals, an opportunity to present the facts on their hermeneutic.
My name is Ryan Allen. I'm also part of Bible Dingers, and that is our audio podcast. We also have a YouTube channel, and we were thinking when we started it that we were for more beginner type of Christians, but as we go along, we're realizing that maybe we're for more of the intermediate, and so we're trying to give theological content and biblical context for folks who have been Christians for maybe 5-6 years, so that you can continue to grow and mature in your faith.
All of us, you can find us on a new YouTube channel called the Why Jesus Network. That's why we got the little symbol thing right there. That is us. So you will see content from all of these guys on there. And if you want to see content that is not on there, you're going to have to go to all of their channels as well. So just real quick, what denomination are you guys?
Well, I already said it. I'm EPC, which is a conservative branch of the Presbyterian Church. And so I didn't grow up in that denomination. We'll get into that, but that's where I landed right now.
So the church that I belong to is a non-denominational charismatic church. I'd consider myself more along the lines of Reformed charismatic, meaning that I'm believe in the gifts of the Holy Spirit. I'm not cessationist, but I also am not hyper charismatic, and I'm also very introverted, so that plays into it.
Ditto. It's exactly the same thing. I consider myself non-denominational. I don't. Anytime that question comes up, I just say I don't affiliate with a title.
Yeah, I don't know what I am. So I grew up Mennonite. So I grew up in the Anabaptist community, which is, I don't know if anyone really knows what that is around here, but I still technically go to a Mennonite church. So I guess by definition, I'm a Mennonite, but my theology doesn't necessarily fall in line with mainline Anabaptist theology.
Yeah, I go to a Baptist church. I would say Reformed Baptist church, but we don't do infant baptism and stuff like that. But yeah, that's where I'm from.
I grew up Pentecostal, and then I found myself at Hillsong, and then now I'm a Reformed Baptist. So.
That's kind of the pattern, So I consider myself non-denominational, but out of this group, I'm probably the most dispensational out of everybody.
Ew.
Blasphemy.
We'll see.
But it's interesting because I believe in the gifts of the Spirit, the gifts of the Holy Spirit and everything like that. So even though the hyper charismatics would think that I'm like a diehard Calvinist, but that's a whole different video.
You're like a hood John MacArthur.
Yeah, something like that. All right. So rapid fire questions. What is your favorite secular thing to do?
Play hockey? Does that count? Is that not secular enough?
Canceled. Sinful.
That's pretty secular.
You have all your teeth.
I play goalie. Favorite
Wouldn't that be
secular
the worst
thing
for
to
your
do?
teeth?
No, you got a full cage. You're not going to get hurt.
Interesting. It's a hard one. I guess I really like movies and music. So listening to like alt rock bands, it's probably the most secular thing. Ooh. And I'll get eviscerated for that in the comments.
Wow.
You're charismatic.
I'm charismatic. Go figure, right?
Wow.
These dang charismatics.
My answer is just based on, I guess, what my old church would consider secular. I like first-person shooter type games, Warzone specifically.
Cut his mic.
Duty?
Cut his
Yeah.
mic. Cut his mic.
Hit me up, bro. Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, man. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. I guess I listen to music and every once in a blue moon when I have time, watch stuff like movies and TV shows, but I don't know. I don't know what I would consider the most secular thing I do. I guess listen to music that's not Christian.
I enjoy Marvel movies. Every one that comes out, I'm at the movie theater watching it.
I'm with you.
I'm there.
And you guys want to cut my mic?
DC, Marvel, all of that stuff. And honestly, cancel me. Because Spider-Man ain't going nowhere in my life, bro.
Oh, wow.
Spider-Man's here to stay.
You can make a great megachurch sermon from Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Just letting you know.
That's true. You could write a book on it.
That's true.
They did.
They did. Frank Turek,
Yeah,
right?
Frank Turek wrote
Yeah,
a book on it. Yep.
Yeah, it's terrible. No, I'm just kidding.
My wife and I play Call of Duty every single night together. Online.
Ooh.
Me and my
Every
wife
single
too.
night.
That's bonding.
info.
though.
Online, too. Where they say curse words.
Squad up all the time.
You have like 12-year-olds cursing you out.
Every night. Every night, bro.
I got stuck on God of War with my brother the other day. And I'm running around. It makes me want to buy like axes and not wear shirts and kick doors in and stuff like that. And anytime that there's like a bag or a chest, I just want to like smash it to see if there's some money in there.
Is there? Is there ever money?
I heard that game's good though.
It's a lot of fun.
I'm
It's
very
definitely a lot of fun.
anti-video game. Yeah? Sorry, guys.
Well, let's
I haven't
begin.
played a video game
Let's
in like
begin.
20 years.
It's safe to say we're
All right,
all going
so
to hell.
let's talk about this. Why are you anti-video game?
More so as a prescription for men, I'm anti-video game. But I'm not like theologically anti-video game. I just think it's like, playing it with your wife sounds cool. Maybe when I get married, I'll do that.
Oh.
But short of that, get married and then you can play video games if you want. Yeah.
So you got to be manly before
Yeah, yeah.
you play the video games.
There's
okay. You got it. You
Yeah,
got
I
it.
forget who said it.
Define manly, because nowadays we don't have to define.
Right. Well, I'll use Mark Driscoll's definition because I think he's it's pretty manly guy.
We're getting
We just
canceled by the
diving
minute,
right
bro.
into the controversy.
We're getting canceled by
Going
the
right
minute.
in.
He made a really cool analogy. He said, "Video games is where boys go to pretend they're men."
Wow.
And I mean, hey, he said it, not me.
That makes
I'm
sense.
pretending on Minecraft.
You quoted
Yeah.
him.
Huh?
You quoted him.
That's true. That's true. And I stand by it. But also, if you're married, it kind of makes it a little different.
Yeah.
Especially like
Embrace a more feminine side when you get married, apparently.
Yeah. That's what I hear. You have to be
we-
lying.
What are we
and
talking
lamb.
about here?
you got to kind of bring the manliness down a little bit when
Exactly.
you're
Video
married.
games.
Yeah. So shoot people together
Exactly.
on
It's honestly
video
romantic.
games.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah, if she ever dies, I come and
You
try
come
to save her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He knows.
How long have you been a Christian? And this is double-sided. This is a double-sided question. How long have you been a Christian, and did you grow up in the church?
I grew up in the church. My grandfather was a pastor. My dad's still a pastor. So as long as I can remember, I've been in the church, but it wasn't until my 8th grade year, like I had accepted Christ, but it didn't really change my life until the summer of my 8th grade year, sitting on the porch of a cabin with my counselor, Will. And that's the moment when my life switched from being just a thing my parents do to a thing that is about me. And actually, I promised to God that I'd never be a pastor, and now I am.
Got to be careful about those
Very careful.
promises to God.
Yeah. I grew up Roman Catholic, went to Catholic school my whole life up until like junior year of high school. I was planning on going to a private Catholic college even, but that, life situations happened. And I came to faith at like 22, and I've been a Christian since then. I'm 34 now, so.
Okay. I've been a Christian all of my life, quote unquote. And the only reason why I say that is because I didn't actually start seeking God the way a Christian should until I realized, and we'll talk about this later, until I realized what denomination I was and what questions I needed answered. And once I started asking those questions myself and started seeking those questions and seeking my own church, that's when I feel like I dedicated myself to being a Christian.
I grew up in the church, and I would say I've always followed a Christian ethic my whole life, but probably when I actually had a relationship with Christ would have been around the time of high school, roughly.
Yeah, I was pretty much born into a Christian family, but my sanctification looked rough.
Yeah.
The early stages of my life, and like Jeremy, I swore that I would never be a pastor. And my mother was trying to get me to go to a Christian college, and I'm like, I don't want to be a pastor. And now I'm in seminary to be a pastor. So I didn't promise God that, but it's funny how that works. How
Crazy.
you know what your calling is, because kind of God corners you and you have no choice, and you're like, I can't think about anything else. I can't dream about anything else. I can't even sleep at night because I want this so bad. And you went from not wanting it at all to it being the only thing you want in life. And I say that for anyone who is promising themselves they don't want to be a pastor, just wait.
I make a formal declaration. I'm never going to be a pastor.
Just wait, buddy.
Here comes the law of
that's a good call.
attraction.
Yeah, law of attraction in full
That's a good
effect.
call.
Full effect.
I've said something similar to that too. Like I've just told myself I could never get into ministry, and here I am.
I feel like those are the people you want in ministry, people that don't necessarily want the accolades and the title and all that,
Yeah.
right?
I think that goes for any ministry. I mean, we can move on, but I think that goes for any ministry, not just being a pastor. If God is calling you for a specific ministry, it's going to be all you think about.
Yeah.
So similar to everybody else, I grew up in church, in a Pentecostal church, like I mentioned. Glory to God, He pulled me out of the mud. And I got saved around 17 or 18 years old. And so I've been a Christian for about 15 years now.
Nice. I did not grow up Christian at all, and I swore that I would never be a Christian. So here we are. Going back to what you were saying, this is like, I guess, a side note about how like it just becomes all that you think about, right? Like you're engulfed by doing this. Doing what we do, like our content creation and stuff like that, I never thought that content creation would be a passion of mine, but I definitely never thought Christian content creation would be a passion of mine. So how did you all get into Christian content creation? Triple C's.
Let's start it down there. Flip it around.
So I had actually gone to school to learn Bible and theology, mostly because I was going to do YWAM. I don't know if you guys know Youth with a Mission.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to go to Africa and attend YWAM in Africa. And I was 18 years old, and my parents sat me down and were like, "You're an idiot, so you're not going to go across the world because you can't take care of yourself."
They knew you really well, huh?
Yeah, they did. And they were like, "Maybe you should go to Bible college instead." So I was like, "All right." And I just kind of went to Bible college. And then I never really did anything with it. And Nick and myself were talking after being friends for years about how we felt like we could do ministry and we were just letting our lives, do nothing for the sake of the gospel. And so at the time, audio podcasts were like blowing up. It was probably about 4 or 5 years ago now. And so that's when we decided, look, let's put this to work. I think that there's a need for people in our generation because biblical illiteracy is a serious problem with our generation in the church. And so we decided to just make the audio podcast, and we've been doing it for 4 or 5 years now.
Nice.
Yeah, we wanted to produce a podcast that provided people with seminary level education for Bible, but deliver it in a way where people would love to listen to us. So we kind of brought our personality into the podcast because we wanted to do it where young people, old people, doesn't matter. If you enjoy laughing, you'll love us. But then we start laughing and then we do a deep dive into things that the common Christian just doesn't know. They don't know historical context. They don't know who wrote a book. They don't know why they wrote the book. They don't know what time it took place. So we were kind of going for that special combination of heavy theological richness with joking around and being ourselves. Because we saw that nothing was out there. I mean, besides you guys, so it's just a blessing to meet with you because we have similar personalities. But at the time, there was nothing. There were the John MacArthurs, there were the Steve Lawsons, there were the Paul Washers, which are all great. But they're just them, and they're going right to business. I'm like, what if someone just wants something easier to listen to? And that's what we wanted to provide.
Well, I think you guys did a great job of it because your stuff is hilarious, and I learned a lot by listening to it. Just this morning, the video you sent me, I was like, wow, that's a good point, so keep doing what you're doing.
Well, I'm a Gen Zer, so it's like mandatory for me to be a content creator.
We should
switch. Mike, because if I didn't do content creation, I just wouldn't fit in with everyone else. But I got into content creation because I wanted to be my own boss one day. So I wanted to be self-employed, and I enjoyed being creative. So I was always like writing, messing around, doing stuff. Did acting for a few years, and was a part of all anything creative. I was doing it a lot. But then at one point during college, I was like, you look at the political atmosphere, you look at the social economic atmosphere and everything. There's a lot of tension, and we live in an age where people are constantly like, it's all about the 60-second clip of like, ooh, gotcha. And normally in my experience, it seems like there's a lot of tension created between different religions, different people groups, different theologies, because we don't actually take time to try to understand different positions. We latch onto what we like to hear, we latch onto what arguments we think are easy to debunk, and then we just attack those. So I was like, why don't I try to start something where I actually try to take time to understand different perspectives, try to take time to actually give people, information, but also at the same time make it somewhat lighthearted and not be completely like there's a lot of channels out there that are very it's like a documentary or it's like very serious, but try to do it more lighthearted, a little bit more kind of relate with people a little bit more, I guess, at younger age and things like my age or so. So yeah, that's just I started YouTube and podcasting in my senior year of college, and been doing it ever since.
Yeah, I love your channel because it I've noticed in comments, even when like some Muslims will disagree with you, it's like many of them are open to just having a conversation with you, and it's because of the way that you present your argument against that. You take the time to actually listen to what they're saying. You go to some of their, you went to the Jehovah's Witness services, and it's just, that's stuff that people aren't willing to do.
It's journalistic.
Yeah,
It's really cool.
definitely.
Sorry. I got into this, honestly, your pastor was really the driving force to it. And it's because he came to my service one time, and he spoke directly to me. He said, all your life you've had a calling and you've done nothing but reject it. And then you keep asking God, how is he going to use you? But you already know your calling. You have to stop being a coward and just do it.
Dang.
He told me just straight like that in front of the entire youth service. So for me, I was kind of like
Sounds like
stunned.
him.
I was stunned by it, but I appreciated that, because what it did was create this driving force in my head, like, I have to do something. I have to do something. And then eventually, I had this talent already with my wife, because she does makeup on YouTube and whatnot for Smash Bros, just to plug that in. But I was helping her create content and stuff, so I already had this. And one day we just spoke, and I said, I have this deep desire to just get on YouTube and do something for God, just do something. And my channel right now is going through like kind of a shift where it's a podcast, but it's also social experiments. And we did something recently where it's do all Christian singles think alike? And really it's to give the world a perspective on Christians and how we think in different phases of our lives without an agenda being pushed. Because there are videos already similar, but you can see that there's an agenda being pushed in those videos.
Yeah, and that's why I like your stuff too, because it's really grounded.
It's for us, by us.
Yeah, for us, by us. That was good. That was really good. Clever.
You like that?
That is wild. My wife's a makeup artist.
Oh, yeah?
So we should chat after.
You guys can collab.
drop,
collab.
boo-boo.
She's not on YouTube yet. I'm trying to get her there.
What's your wife's YouTube page, just for everybody?
It's Smash Brush.
Smash Brush.
Yeah, together,
I
Smash
thought you said
Brush.
Smash Bros. I was just
No,
letting
no,
that
no.
fly.
I'm like, video games and makeup.
I thought she was doing makeup for Smash Brothers. I didn't even know they wore makeup.
So the funny thing is that she was from the get. She was a gamer, so she wanted something similar. She wanted to do kind of like a collaboration with makeup and gaming, and she loved Smash Bros, the Nintendo game. So that's where she got the name, Smash Brush.
I just played that for the first time at at Pastor
Now
Josh's
that's
house
heresy.
in
You've never
Arizona.
played.
Even I've played Smash
no,
Bros, dude.
And he hates video games.
I think I might have played it in the past, but this is the only time I remember. Right? And man, we were getting it in, fighting each other. I was losing to these little kids, But all right, Angel.
Yeah, there's nothing more infuriating than losing in video games to a little kid. Just putting that
Yeah,
out there.
nothing manly.
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
Nothing manly about
My
that,
little
right?
cousins, I would force. Yeah, you dang kids. If anything, it's a grouchy old man. But so, what was the question?
How'd you get into content creation?
Oh, that's
Angel?
right.
Thank you, my co-host. My co-host.
So I have been like an artsy guy since I was a kid. There's just nothing that I was better at than being creative. When I actually came to Jesus, I was a worship leader for a little while, and so that's kind of how I expressed my creativity for God. And went to school for graphic design, went to school for art, and eventually got to a place where I was like, okay, I can go the route of marketing or politics and working in that area, but it's not as fulfilling as talking about God and sharing the gospel with people. So I was like, why don't I just take the talents I have from my professional career, merge it with my own, and only really recently has it come out in the way that I'm very proud of. I used to do a blog back when blogs were a thing. Called Culture and God, and I would just write about the culture and how it relates to God, and that was doing pretty well, but eventually you have to get a real job. So now I'm at a place where content seems like a pretty good idea and a pretty reasonable thing to invest in now, which I think is the first time really in history that's doable.
You should redo those blogs in video form.
I used to cover a lot of Hillsong stuff back then.
So I'm going to say it was providential that I ended up making content, but it's very similar to Angel's story. And here's why. When I went to college, I went to a Christian college, and I started with an art degree because I was like, I just don't want to do anything else but do art. And I just took the graphic design classes. And then midway through, I switched to a Bible degree because they made me start doing live nude painting. And I was like, I'm out about that. Sorry.
At a Christian college?
Oh my Christian.
I mean, it's art. So, but all that to say, I had no idea what my art degree or my almost art degree would come in handy. And then the pandemic hit. And I've been at my church for a while, and we said, hey, we need to start doing digital content. We have to get to a live stream. We hadn't yet. We have to start doing this. And I committed, before I knew what I was doing, I committed to doing 52 videos once a week, walking our church through the New City Catechism. And man, if you want to see some cringy videos, go check out the First Presbyterian Church of Bakerstown and that New City. The beginning is so rough, but you can see the progression of me getting better. And then as that went on, we realized that people don't want to engage an institution. People don't want to engage a church YouTube channel. They're there just for consumption and then moving on. And so I started shifting all of that content creation to my own personal channel, still kind of under the guise of working for the church. And that's where everything started to grow and go from there. But it was all pushed by this. Everything had to become digital at the pandemic. So I've only been at this just for a few years.
There's a marketing saying, people don't follow brands, people follow people. Mm-hmm. Right? And I think that's a perfect example of that.
That's a fact. In sales, it's people don't buy products, they buy people.
Yeah.
You know, that's why companies spend billions of dollars on, what are you laughing at?
Of course, the white guy says that.
Yo! Bro, where is this conversation going?
That is from
What was that?
That is all the wokeness in your in your
I am
generation.
Gen Z, remember?
Yeah, that's
See,
what
see
that
why
is.
Gen Z
we moving into
needs mic
CRT
stands?
now?
Gosh, man. What the heck was I saying? This is why companies spend millions of dollars on hey, Kim Kardashian, post this, and we'll give you $1 million for one Instagram post.
If we weren't canceled before, we're definitely canceled now.
Yeah, I'm totally cool with being
And then
canceled.
you used Kim Kardashian as an analogy, so now
I
we're
definitely
really done.
did. I definitely did. John Clash exposed.
So make sure you hit that like button for all the negative comments we're going to get.
All right, guys, let's dive into the good.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.